What's up, family? We definitely got an interesting video for you today. A little different than the normal videos I do. I would particularly say everyone isn't particularly into what I'm going to be talking about today, but although there are a lot of people that are. It's going to be dealing with bodybuilding. So therefore, I'm going to title this video, Bodybuilders, the 1975 Mr. Olympia. Facts you didn't know about. Yes, facts that you didn't know about. Matter of fact, just to start out, we're gonna do a lot of actual facts a lot of people didn't know. But just to start out, did you know in 1975, the Mr. Olympia, although Arnold Schwarzenegger won it, he was the first place winner in a 200-pound and above weight class. Because you know they had two different weights. You had 200 and below, and then you had 200 and above. And that was the one where Arnold was in, 200 and above. So did you know in 1975, when he won it, Arnold was 28 years old. He came in first place. You know who came in second place? Serge Nubret. And watch this. Serge Nubret was 37 years old when he did that. That's 9 years older than Arnold Schwarzenegger. Would you believe that? 9 years older. There's a big disparity right there. Lou Ferrigno in 1975, he was only 24 years old. Serge Nubret was 13 years older than Lou Ferrigno and 9 years older than Arnold Schwarzenegger. See, these are simple facts a lot of people overlook. So remember, Arnold came in first place, Serge Nubret came in second place, and Lou Ferrigno came in third place. But another thing you got to remember, these things, they didn't pay a lot of money. Remember, I think back then, they was only getting barely over $2,000, I think like $2,500 for first place. They didn't get a lot of money in this stuff. Bodybuilding is not a lot of money in this stuff. However, that's a number that I thought you all should know. Because like I said, people lie, history lie, but numbers don't lie. Look at the large gap in age, where Serge Nubret was 37 years old competing against a 28-year-old and a 24-year-old. And another very big thing to remember is that Arnold, he had came from money. Not only he had came from money, he actually was in the military. You know, he had these people backing him financially. These people was backing him. So he had a backing for finances. Now, when you talk about Lou Ferrigno, as great as he was, you know what his main source of income was? Coming from his father. And he was an iron worker. He was working a job, busting his butt. He didn't have no great finances backing him like Arnold. And Serge Nubret, same thing. Serge Nubret, he a regular guy doing bodybuilding to make money and working jobs, and he had been in a lot of movies. Nothing really huge, but some source of income, was trying to make money through films. So let's get on with some other facts. Now that you know that, there was a large difference in age. This man was way older than his competitors. But watch this. It's going to get even more deeper than that. Because when you start out, you got to go with the actual facts and stuff like this. In truth, the story of the 1975 Olympian is at times more interesting and controversial than the film ever showed. Sure, Arnold Schwarzenegger was still the star, both on screen and in real life, but the movies also left out how much of the event revolved around two things in particular. And those two things was apartheid in South Africa and the adult entertainment world. See, now you say, what does that have to do with anything? Apartheid in South Africa and adult entertainment world. It has a great big deal to do with things. Because now you got to say, where was this event held at? Let me tell you where it was held at. They had to choose an event where to have it at, right? And you know where they had the event? They had it in Pretoria, South Africa. Yes, at the time, I didn't know where that was at. Until I started studying geography. Yes, this event in 1975 was in Pretoria, South Africa. Now, let me tell you something about Pretoria, South Africa, and Africa, period. This was another source of contention. And as always, folks, you know I love to give you a word of the day. So dealing with this video, we're going to use contention as a word of the day. What does contention actually mean when you look it up? It means a heated disagreement, a dispute, some form of argument or grievance. Contention, dispute. So now let's get back to what we were saying. They had this event in Pretoria, South Africa, where South Africa legalized a form of racial segregation known as apartheid. This created two-tier society, wherein white citizens were afforded full freedoms and non-white citizens, black people, aka Serge Nobret. Non-white citizens were denied many legal rights and public services. Simple things like public services they couldn't do. Which brings me back to the event. When they was doing this event, Luther Rigo, Arnold Schwarzenegger had no problem going into these buildings, those buildings, this transportation, that bus, this bus, all kinds of transportation and lodging, no problem. But they was making it hard on Serge Nobret, black man, where it's like, no, you can't come in this building. You can't get this transportation. You can't ride this bus. And at one point, Arnold Schwarzenegger, he had to intervene to ensure black bodybuilders were allowed on the same bus as white competitors. See what I'm saying? These are the things that emotionally Serge Nobret had to constantly deal with this nonsense. Which brings me to another part. As great as athletes as all three of these guys and many more were, because there was a lot more competitors, a lot of great competitors. Look at all these great competitors, right? But you must also remember what really pushed Schwarzenegger, because remember, he had won many events before 1975. So what pushed Schwarzenegger to remain within the sport was the opportunity to play the lead in this documentary. Yeah, they said they guaranteed him that you will be the lead. Schwarzenegger knew the spotlight would firmly be on him. The other competitors at the show just had to deal with second place. So now you go, whoa, what you mean by that? Let me explain it to you. See, it's nothing greater than you joining a competition when you already know you're going to win. And you go, what do you mean how you know you're going to win? This is what's called fiat accompli. Kind of touched on one of my old videos where I said fiat currency. What is fiat currency? But let me get more into it. When you join in any competition and it's already fixed for you to win, why would you not join? It's a game. It's already been decided. You already won. It ain't even start yet. So let me explain those exact words. At the contest itself, Schwarzenegger was at his very best, confident, conditioned, and flawless with his posing. It always seemed a fiat accompli that he'd collect his sixth Mr. Olympia trophy that day in South Africa. See? Pretoria, South Africa. He already knew because they already told him it is a fiat accompli. Meaning, what does fiat accompli mean? That something that already has been chosen. Decision making that has already been decided. It's already been decided. You're going to win. Don't worry about it. Now you tell me, wouldn't you join something if something already been decided? The fix was in. Pumping Iron viewers, though, it was as if none of this happened. Butler portrayed Nobret simply as a last-minute entry into the contest. One of the sport's most important figures at the time was Nobret, became just another competitor, seemingly to serve as a cannon fodder for the unstoppable Schwarzenegger. You see, they just put him there at the last minute because, truth be told, despite his standing in the sport, Nobret received some shocking news when he arrived in South Africa in the days before the contest. He was not allowed to compete. Did y'all know that? Yes. Because of all this apartheid and all this crap, and the adult entertainment business was skyrocketing. So I know a lot of you would say, what that had to do with it? What that had to do? A lot. The apartheid thing was mental stress on him, where I can't ride this, I can't go on this building. Y'all putting all this unfair, racist crap in here, right? But then not only that, what does the adult entertainment got to do with it? A lot. This is what it had to do with it. When it came down to actually competing, they tried to sabotage Serge Nabret by saying, oh, we found that you had did pornography films before, so you can't compete in this. And of course, he fought that diligently and said, you guys, that is a bold lie. I have never been in no pornographic films. I've been in many movies before, and none of them has been pornographic. Sure, I'm in there with my underwear, just like with the competition we doing here. Is this pornographic? No. So sure, I'm doing gladiator roles, and I'm in like shorts and all that, but it's not pornographic. Y'all knock it off. But see, this is what they was doing. They was doing everything to mentally try to break Serge Nabret, to financially break him, to emotionally break him, you know, with all the racial crap. Now y'all going to say, oh, he was an adult. So they told him he could not be in the competition. And that, which you know, like 3 days or so before the actual competition, that's when they finally allowed him to be in it. Called him up as a last minute choice where they said, hey, you could be in the competition today. Y'all know what that last minute thing is. How many times a lot of us, we watch stuff like boxing, UFC, you know, PFL, all that. You know how the last minute thing works? Let's say, let me take you, your listening audience, for example. You train for whatever it is, you know, event you're doing. But you ain't really got no fights coming up, but you occasionally train, sometimes you don't. Do you imagine these two fighters over here got a fight coming up? A competition coming up or whatever this case, in this case, a competition, right? But all of a sudden, due to adversity, maybe you hurt yourself, death in the family, whatever the case, right? Now, this person can't compete with you. Then they call you up at the last minute. You probably ain't even been trained. At the last minute, they say, hey, we like to include you in the contest. That's what happens when you get last minute. How many times we seen fighters, they get called 3 days before the fight. You imagine that? You're getting called 3 days before the fight, and they tell you, yeah, you're going to be fighting Mike Tyson. You're like, what? Mike Tyson been training for years. You want to give me 3 days to train? That's what they did to Serge Nabret. Here it is, Arnold been training for years. He done won the previous years. He been training a whole year. Of course, Serge is training too, but not to that capacity because they already counted him out. And at the last second, y'all put him in it. So now he had to get in his top shape, what he could in 3 days. And he's always said, I never felt at my best, even though I looked real great to people. They didn't give me sufficient time to get it together. See, that's what was the other contingency. Contention, rather, I say. Which means, what does contention mean? Let's say it again. Like I said, word of the day. It is a heated disagreement. It is a dispute, a heated argument where you go, yo, well, y'all put me through all this nonsense. So these are facts that you didn't know. Like I said, although Arnold was great, Lou Ferrigno was great. You know, then eventually he got the Incredible Hulk thing kicked off for him. Serge Nabret, you know, he got a bunch of other movies, but he never actually blew up really big. Arnold, we all knew how big he blew up. But then when you look back on it, like I said, look back on these numbers right here. Like I said, people lie and history lie, but numbers don't lie. When they won that, all three of them won first place, second place, and third place. Remember, Arnold came in first, Serge Nabret came in third. Arnold came in first, Serge Nabret came in second place. At 37 years old, runner up to Arnold, first place, 28 years old. Serge Nabret was 9 years older than him. And Lou Ferrigno was pretty much like a baby. He was 24 years old. You got to remember, when you don't have proper financing backing you, it's that much harder to do any sport, especially when you got to travel around the world and all this nonsense and you don't got proper backing. But then the person that actually won it, they won it because it was a fiat accompli, which means the card's already been done. The fix is already in. We're guaranteeing you a win before it even starts. You tell me how fair is that? But let's be honest, all of these type of competitors was all great. So I'm not taking nothing from no one. I was always a big Arnold Schwarzenegger fan. I used to watch all his movies. But what I'm saying, when I looked and did the research on this, it showed you, as always, just how systemic racism and nonsense and unfair treatment goes constantly with stuff and with certain people. Always doing stuff to hold people back. What else can I say about all this? Oh, like I said, Arnold was in the military, and he had the military background. He had his country background. I remember when I was a kid, I was so happy to say, man, he's from Australia, because, you know, young and naive. And then as I got older, I looked and said, no, he's not from Australia. He's from Austria. Just like a lot of Austria, remember, he was in the military. Austria soldiers joined these people when it came to the military. Think about what I'm saying. So this who you had, this who he had back him. But they did everything to sabotage Serge Nubret. And this man still was wonderful. So I'm going to say one last thing. Great to all these competitors. A lot of great competitors doing this type of work. But Luther Riggle was only 24 at the time. Arnold was 28. And Serge Nubret was 37 years old. And they sabotaged him in every way and only put him in the competition. They told him he couldn't be in the competition, and then at the last minute they allowed him in the competition with all the racial apartheid going on, and then accusing him, false accusations that they was accusing. Yo, this put a lot of stress on anybody. But hey, in closing, well, I like to say to any and everybody watching this video, all these guys was great competitors. They're historical. They're great. It actually put a balance and motivated for this type of competition to be even bigger, like to this very day. It made a lot of other people want to be motivated to be these great bodybuilders. But look at Serge Nubret right here. See, this is all natural. This ain't no skin tan and stuff he had to put on. Because I remember as a kid, I used to think it was so many black bodybuilders. When I used to have the magazines, I was like, man, there's a lot of black bodybuilders. And then when I seen the actual video one day, I was like, oh, those guys not black. Because then it showed them in the shower. You know, it didn't show them butt naked and like that. But it showed them their body, their upper body, and then it showed their feet when they taking a shower, washing off all that tan stuff, because that's how I was able to show all their definition. Without it, they look plain Jane pale. But Serge Nubret, look, that's all natural. They ain't had to put no tanning stuff on and all this other stuff. But hey, they all were great. That's what I would end in closing. They all were great. It's just so unfortunate. What a lot of things a lot of us didn't know was the unfortunate, unjustly circumstances that they tried to plot against Serge Nubret all the time. But this man was great. It's unfortunately, he passed away in 2011. But that man was still on top of his game at that very old age as well. Hey, hope y'all enjoyed the video. Peace.